There we go.
That's Mr. Fame to you.
Okay. So we get the really nice audio here. So if you can get the closest to the microphone, the better. Like, yeah.
Like
stuff.
this.
Hello. Hi.
Hi. Does that sound sexy?
That sounds wonderful.
gorgeous.
Okay.
We made it.
Yeah.
We're here.
We did. You have
We have
no
20
idea,
minutes.
Right?
Okay. Silence.
You're giving me anxiety.
Ready?
Intestinal problems. Keep going.
Our guest today really did grow up on a chicken farm in California, only to become one of the most influential video bloggers by teaching many new drag queens how to simply put on their makeup. Oh yeah, she's also on RuPaul's Drag Race and could probably win this season or go home early. Welcome, Miss Fame.
Wow. It's an honor to be here tonight.
Yay!
Yay.
So
I'm glad you made it.
before we do this podcast and the interview,
Yes.
let's talk about the last 15 hours of your life.
Okay. I'll catch you up. So, flew from New York. We had a rush to the airport. My husband forgot his passport, so we had to turn around. So my blood was boiling from the first start of the day, but I tried to keep it cool because I had my dancers with me. Landed in Chicago, and the plane was it was levitating. It was kind of terrifying. I hate flying. Scared. And
You're
landed.
like Whoopi Goldberg.
Does she not like to fly?
She takes buses everywhere.
Oh,
Yeah.
well.
She has a private bus that she takes across the country.
I wish I could have that luxury, but
Yeah.
there would
Get
have
on
to
the
be a
Battle of
lot-
the Seasons tour.
Right?
You'll be riding the bus all around the country.
I don't know if I'm going to will it into existence just yet, but I think it might have, there might be a future there,
And so you left your pads at home.
Is true. You guys were coming to get
Yeah.
me, and I had unfortunately brought all my couture with not a body to go inside of it. No cincher, no tits, no ass.
It was pure hog
Just
body.
my gaff, and that was it. And 4 pairs of Capezio tights.
And thankfully, we had all these drag queen T-shirts just lying around not doing anything.
I got a Gia gun stuck in my hip.
So
I'm kidding, girl.
Trixie Mattel and all this other stuff,
Yeah.
we cut them up,
All
and
the
they made
girls from the
amazing
season.
T-shirts.
I got Pearl on my left and Trixie on my right. They feel great. This is right where they deserve to be.
And
my ass.
We're simulcasting this on YouTube, so you
Yes.
can kind of see a little clips of Miss Fame, if you're nasty. Could you actually stand up for a second and just show
Let me
it?
just
Play
put
it
my
to the
little
camera.
panties down. Ooh.
Girl, that's amazing for a last-minute padding job.
So what you're seeing here is a contraption. There's
Yeah.
what's that store we went to downtown?
Have a seat so they can't hear you. Look at that. Amazing. Okay, have a seat.
I'm back. So we went to the little gay shop that's right across from Roscoe's. I got some
Beatniks.
tits, a cincher, beatniks, and some 2 butts, and the rest is t-shirts. And we worked it out, and here we are with the body.
And it's funny, I called
legend.
I called because I wanted to make sure that they had hip pads and all that kind of stuff. So unfortunately, I called Beatrix's restaurant, and I'm like, "Excuse me, do you have hip pads for drag queens?" They're like, "That's Beatniks," and yes, they do.
They're like, Hanya, we have cat and we have dog. I can't wait to eat. I'm starving.
Well, Miss Fame, congratulations. You win this challenge of doing your own pads.
Oh my God, I haven't had a situation, a she-emergency to this degree since I was working a gig in early drag where I had recently, me and Patrick just met. It was my first drag gig where we were going together. He was driving, and I got the dates wrong. We were driving to Vermont Law School where I was going to host their annual gay and lesbian drag party. And I had to get into full drag, shaving in a McDonald's bathroom with cold water and a bar, whatever soap they have out of the dispenser, and painting in a rear view light from the window that drops down with as much light was occupied, which are those teeny dim lights. And I was able to pad, cinch, wig, style my wig, jewelry, nails, the whole thing. By the time we got there, I literally walked in with a mic in hand and I turned out the show. And I don't think anybody realized the insanity, and I never want to wish that upon any drag queen, but this happens. Like, stuff happens. Sometimes
all the
we make
time.
mistakes. I'm only human.
For the people who are watching this right now, how much time did you spend on your makeup today, on your face that we're looking at right now?
This was probably an hour and a half.
So that's your fast look.
This is like my cut corners and create elegance look.
Because I'm looking at this, and I said this in the red carpet again, it's it looks effortless. But then I watch your tutorials, and there's like all primer and sealant and
Yeah.
spackling and
You know, my background is portrait painting.
Yeah.
I financed my trip to New York, moving to New York 4 years ago by selling paintings.
Oh.
So my art has always carried me through, and I don't think a lot of people realize that my background was painting and realism, pastels, the whole thing, pencil, and I haven't done it since I did a portrait for my husband 2 years ago on his birthday. 2 years ago? And we'll send you a picture, or we can show it on the phone. It's really great.
serving
I'm
up
all self-pat on the back. I like it when people feel happy from art.
So you took your art background and applied it to your face.
Applied it to makeup, worked on other people, and then I was able to translate that into makeup on my face as Miss Fame. And I think that a lot of great makeup artists that were iconic, like Kevin Aquan and Matthew, they have a fine art background. Like it's in there. Like you can see
sure,
it.
yeah.
It's,
Right.
it's always
it's all in
gonna
that
be there.
brush stroke, isn't it?
Yeah.
Kids, that's why when you go to art school, you got to learn figure drawing and painting.
Right.
Because even if you want to be fierce drag queens, you still have to learn the fundamentals.
You do.
So how many different products do you have on your face right
I
now? Would
probably
you,
have 100. I mean, if I really
Really?
wanted to do the countdown, I use like 3 different foundations, 3 different shades, maybe 4, depending on how, if it's nightlife or if I'm doing a daytime shoot, if I want to look fishy.
You use a lot of shade.
2 different types of powder. Actually, 3 to 4 different types of powders because I use a loose powder. I mean, I'm going to go in. It's a lot of work.
Sure. Okay.
Blocking the brows out and making
So
it
when
look
you
like
say
don't
literally
have
it's
any.
100,
It's probably 100 products. I
Wow.
use like 3 to 4 lip liners. I'm obsessed. The more the merrier. I could do it with less. When I first started doing drag, I had 3 little tiny concealers and 1 powder, 1 cream blush. Cream blush for a drag queen. Come on, who did I think I was? I was like a real girl. Cream blush. I want to look dewy. And what color lipstick? I had like 3 eyeshadows, black, gray, and white. It was so simple. An eyebrow pencil and 3 brushes to match. So my kit was like I could hold it in 2 hands. Everything I needed to do drag makeup.
And now it's a trunk.
And now it's suitcases. Pat McGrath, the most legendary makeup artist, travels with numerous suitcases to do couture.
Suitcases of makeup. How heavy is your makeup case?
Oh, it's very heavy.
40 pounds?
I don't know how much do you think my husband's over here, so I keep going, like,
Patrick.
I'm looking toward my voice within my mind.
And Patrick is so adorable. Hi, Patrick.
Patrick.
I love
my
you.
God. We love you.
He's like my saving grace.
So let's sort of turn back the clock
Yes.
and talk about a little boy. Once upon a time, there was a little boy named Curtis who grew up in a chicken farm in California.
Let's go there.
What
would
tell
you like
us
to know?
about San Luis Obispo, the town you grew up in.
Central California.
Yeah.
So it's about 3 hours north of Los Angeles and 3 hours south of San Francisco. But it's kind of in the middle where there's nothing happening. There's no gay nightlife. The gay club kind of peaks up and disappears. There's not a home base for the community. Dirt roads, rolling hills, oak trees, deer, the whole landscape that you'd expect. It's wine country now, so it evolved from the rolling hills with oak trees to farmers buying it for wine country because the climate's so perfect. But it's more of a retirement or a place to raise your children. It's not really ideal for a drag queen.
Did you grow up with a TV set?
I did.
You did? Okay, so
But
it's
my
not-
grandparents, like, we watched National Geographic. That's what I
Okay.
did.
You didn't
And
have cable
We didn't have cable.
or internet.
No, we had solitaire on our little computer. We used our computer just to play solitaire.
How long did it take your parents to drive you to school?
It was an hour bus ride.
Wow.
But they didn't drive me to school. I'd have to walk a dirt mile
In the
through a
snow.
cow field with like thistle and thorns and then dodge the bull and get through barbed wire fence. Like this is a real story. If I wanted to take the shortcut or I'd have to take the long route, rattlesnakes, tarantulas, like this is really happening. And then Indiana Jones gets to the bus and I was the first stop. So I had to get there earliest in the morning. And then I was the last stop at the end of the day. So I got like the shaft when it came to the bus ride because I had to tough it out the entire time. It just adds an additional hour to your morning and your night. And when you're a kid, you don't want to be like school. You need a break.
Yeah.
I needed a break.
What
from
did
the
you do
beginning.
as a little boy to escape?
I went outside and talked to my chickens.
How many chickens did you have?
I had 100.
100?
I use that
That's
number a
of
lot. It might
friends.
be like Illuminati. It's a symbol. It's a symbol. No, I had probably, it depended like on the year because sometimes we would get more and I had my own little incubator that I had underneath my bed in my room. So I'd hatch baby chicks in my room. And I would spend hours outside talking to them and cluck. I can cluck like a chicken. I don't know if the mic would pick it up. Ready?
Let's hear it.
See, I'm a chicken.
That is
I'm a
unbelievable. I'm so glad we were able to do this podcast. I can die now.
Did you do that into the camera?
Actually, wait.
Let's do that again.
She did it.
Can you hear that?
Yes,
totally.
We can totally hear
I
that.
Absolutely
actually
hear
won
it.
second place in a crowing contest, and they said because I didn't crow, I couldn't win the first place, but it was unique. It was a cluck.
Wow.
I said,
'Cause
fuck
you're a
you,
lady
clucker.
chicken.
Yes, I went in.
You're the real
I'm a
chicken lady.
chicken. I'm a lady hen.
Can you do like a
No, it would be like busted.
bug
no,
your
it's
eyes
like,
out?
but it's not glamorous.
And you have a chicken tattoo on
I have
your
a
arm.
phoenix cock on my left arm. I raised this breed. They're from Japan, and their tails never stop growing. So they're very royal, and they'd wrap their tails in silk, and they're very exotic, like a bonsai garden would possess a chicken like this.
It's gorgeous.
So they're not just like to eat for the drumstick or to eat the egg. These are raised for the aesthetic. And I was attracted to beautiful creatures and supermodels and all of those things that were so far gone from me. But I was always drawn to beautiful things, even when I was little. And chickens were what I had available. So I found the pretty ones.
So do you think that the aesthetic of birds specifically and chickens subconsciously influences you as an artist and as a drag queen?
I think that there's a rootedness in coming from the middle of nowhere and growing up on a hill when
Yeah.
there's nobody else. You have nothing but creativity to run through your mind if you're an artist. And I use that. I feel like I'm Norma Jean of drag, like Marilyn Monroe. Like
Yeah.
I come from nothing. I grew up in the middle of nowhere with no friends in sight. It didn't mean I didn't have them. It just, there was no kids around, so you couldn't really hang out. So animals were my go-to. I made do with what I had. And I was actually quite crafty. I did a lot of wood shop and welding, and I was very active outside. I could build fences and chicken pens, and that was kind of a part of my journey.
Do you think that maybe might be why you're such a self-starter today and you choose an unconventional path because of the fact that you were given so much free reign you were a free-range chicken
I was
as
a
kid?
free-range hen.
Yeah.
My grandparents raised me. I talked about my grandfather's death, which was one of the heaviest realities that I had to face at a very young age. I was 15. And I was developing, I was growing up. I knew truths about myself that I wasn't willing to share at that time. But the thing is, with my grandfather, he was Danish. He had traveled. He was a merchant marine. So there was this allure to him in his lifestyle before. He didn't talk about everything, but I knew truths about him. He was very stoic and strong and Viking-like. What I got from him was that you have to see the world. He showed me National Geographic. I'd sit on his lap. We eat ice cream. So I still do that routine. I watch National Geographic when I'm home and I eat ice cream. It's like, I could do it every night until my waistline can't. So the thing is, I was shown that by example, not by words, but by example, that I was supposed to do something big. And I always knew I was a circle in a square family. I was different. So I'm okay with that.
When you moved to New York City
Yes.
and you gave yourself the name Miss Fame, you weren't famous at the time, obviously.
No.
And it's a good thing you didn't name yourself like Mrs. Poo Poo Pants or something.
That would have been. That would have looked like probably the pads I got underneath the dress
She
tonight.
likes pretty things.
I do.
But it's kind of we were talking in the car ride over here that it was kind of a prayer of what you desire in life, and in some ways you've achieved that.
I think like they brought up The Secret in our Meet the Queens, and I read that book. It was one of the few that I've read. Okay, I haven't read a book in years. It was probably the last book I read maybe 10 years ago.
You read the Cliff Notes.
I did. I got the condensed version. But when I read it, it registered to me. Like, I'm like, well, why don't I think positively? What's that going to bring to me if I actually look at the good in life rather than being worried about what didn't happen for me or how my circumstances were led because my grandparents raised me, not my parents, and all of the backstory.
Mm-hmm.
So rather than getting stuck in the problem of what was, I started to look and realize I had to be the one to seek solution. Nobody else could do that for me. Like, that's a grown-up decision, and I did that at 20. So it was like,
And
I
now
gotta change.
you're this kind of lifestyle brand. You always are talking about the brand so much that all the kids are like,
can't wait.
I don't want to hear any more about the brand anymore. But
But that just means that it sticks. It has to, like if we're on a television show where we have a lot of powerful personalities. If you're not talking about what you love, then there's going to be another powerful queen that's going to be able to captivate the audience. I didn't want to sit back and just disappear into the rafters. I knew that I was doing television, but I also am passionate about what I love. I talk about it in my day-to-day life. I'm obsessed. I wake up, I think about Miss Fame. I go to bed, I think about Miss Fame. And I think
you
about
have
the
dreams
dream.
about Miss Fame?
I do. I dream about, actually, I've dreamt about RuPaul. Like, before I did Drag Race, RuPaul was in my dreams a lot. And I was kind of like, all right, and even doing the show, when I would look at RuPaul's face, her face would float. The whole room would go like as if we were having like unspoken a spiritual connection. I felt it. I felt like I was looking at her energy. She didn't have to say the words, but I felt like she wants us to do good. She wants us to do good, but she wants to make great television. But I felt like, come on, girl, even when there's tough days, because we have those there too, and you're watching it on television as we speak.
What's a tough day like on RuPaul's
It's horrible. Because when you're falling apart at the seams and trying to pick yourself up, you're like a weak animal in the jungle. Like, you're going to be susceptible to getting attacked by a lion. So you really have to be powerful. You have to brave through the toughest moments. And if you show vulnerability, it's like those old school pageant queens. Oh, God, should I not talk about that? But
Do
yeah.
it.
The people are going
there,
to hone
girl.
in and
Yeah.
go like, girl, like, what's going on with her? Or it's like a person, they'll find the little things to attack. And I think it's a competition. I don't think that's all aspects of everyone's life there. But I also think that I've always looked at the more positive aspects of people more so than other queens do. I go, oh, you know what? I can understand where she's coming from. I don't think every queen does that for each other, to be honest.
And so I love our little red carpet moment that we
Yes.
had. Did you notice
I watched it.
That went viral?
It was great.
Do you remember what you said?
Which part?
You said-
the competition that's in my mind?
Yes.
Yeah.
Because you
said,
visualize a lot
let me
of
quote
stuff.
you back to yourself. I think I did win Best Dress in Los Angeles, and I'm trying to go for Best Dress in Chicago. And I said, who's doing the contest?
And I said,
It's
the
in
one
my
that's
head.
in my head.
And I think you did win. You looked fabulous.
Thank you. I felt beautiful and I felt like myself. It was a lot of pressure. We had a tight schedule. We had to show up red carpet ready and ready for interviews. And that's one of I feel is my strengths. I like talking to people. Like that doesn't scare me. That's something I could do all the time, connect with other human beings.
You gotta love the work, and you
Yeah.
have two husbands, really.
Yes.
This one here, Patrick, and Miss Fame,
Right. Or the man behind Miss Fame.
the man behind Miss Fame.
Because it just depends on the day. Being in this essence is a different register. I feel like being in drag and what I've realized and in reading Rue's book, it feels like I'm channeling something outside of my body. Like there's literally going back to The Secret and the cosmic love and all those hashtags I use. It's because I've had some really crazy spiritual things happen where I've physically felt like I've left my body. And I was like, I'm very clear-headed. This is happening midday. I'm channeling something, or when I get into drag, that there's a shift between who I am as a boy and who I become when I allow her to enter my being to do the job that needs to be done.
Well, it's because you were eating those mushrooms on those cow patties.
You know what's up, right?
But there's like an energy change to who you
100%. I think it changes the demeanor of how I'm perceived worldwide. And when I work, I'm always thinking, when there's a camera in my face, it's like, I think I'm trying to reach as many souls, lives, people, because there are a lot of young people out there that are looking for inspiration and somebody to save them or help inspire them. And although I physically might not be able to rescue everybody, I think the message of determination and living a dream and pushing yourself even with nothing, which I've had, to becoming somebody and affirming that is really profoundly powerful.
Well, let's talk about how you actually did it.
Okay.
And I think part of it is, and Oprah talks about this, and a lot of successful,
Super Soul Sunday.
a lot of entertainers, they say, is being a good teacher. This is the secret, listeners. If you want to be like Miss Fame or us, I always tell this to Mark. What is the one thing that you have to be good at?
Teaching.
Explaining things that you know that you're so bored explaining it to people, you have to make it exciting for yourself.
Right.
And one thing you're really good at is explaining how to put on makeup.
I love it. I think that it gives people so much like self-confidence. Like when you don't feel very great about yourself, but you could paint on a warrior's face, of course you're going to feel like impenetrable. You can't get past that. And in the beginning, putting on my face was my armor. Like it was the first thing I'm like, you can't touch me. I don't want you to touch me. Stay far away from me. And then when I learned to love myself, very Rue, while this journey is forever, I started to discover that I wanted to share the power of makeup along the way. I think I'll do makeup for the rest of my adult career. Like as a grown-up, I hope I can continue to touch as many faces and paint them into my likeness. Because I think everybody wants to feel transformed, and we all have a alter ego, whether it's drag queen or if it's cosmic goddess, whatever.
You're in the honeymoon phase of being a drag queen right now.
I'm in pain, but you can't, what, am I going to sit here and be a bitter Betty? I have to be like, realistic. This is an amazing opportunity.
I think it's
without a
really
doubt.
fantastic the way you've influenced drag queens. And the one thing that I've noticed that drag queens are starting to do after your tutorial videos is contouring their jawline up.
Yeah,
which you
lifting
do.
that ledge.
Yeah.
I don't have Violet Chachki's chin, which I tell her I obsess on her face because she's got the narrowest little chin. She's got like a lady face.
He's so cute.
So
isn't he?
cute, and the bone structure is good
Yeah.
because of the angles. Like I look at faces all day long. I can make anybody, to the best of my ability, look like me or a version of Miss Fame.
Could you make me look like a pretty woman?
I could actually. I could very
Could
well.
you make
have
my
great
big
teeth.
nose look like your nose?
I could whittle that down. Trust me. It's like black and white, and then on a photograph, it looks like a natural little tiny surged nose.
Well, you actually worked on Wendy Williams and Snooki,
have.
JWoww, Michael Urie.
I did for Next Magazine.
What did you do for Michael Urie?
Just little boy beauty, like
Okay.
little clean touch-ups, anti-shine, full face. Come
and you
on,
brought
I
in
like contour.
the big guns for Lady Bunny.
Lady Bunny was like, okay, she came over to my house as a man, and I was like, oh my God, this is my Uncle Christian. Like, I felt like I already knew her, and the personality's still there, and like, she came to me shaven, but there was stubble, and I'm like, you're eating up my pencils, girl. Like, I was trying to do the lip, and it was just...
Oh, from
you
the
can't-
stubble?
Yeah, it's rough, and then you're trying to blend it out with the brush. We talked about it on the premiere tour. So, and she's had other artists do her makeup, but she said that she's never let another drag queen do her makeup before, or rarely lets artists do her makeup, that I was the first one.
You're
wow.
painted by fame.
Yeah, painted by fame.
And-
it's a lifestyle.
Ding.
Now available where?
On iTunes.
Well, it's not available.
Speaking about iTunes.
MissFame.com.
So I wanted to talk with you about something else.
Ooh, what do you have?
I've got a very exciting project
Is
coming
this
up.
an exclusive?
It's an exclusive.
Okay,
Ooh,
people.
Ring the bell.
Calm
It
down.
is, right?
You can ring the bell after you announce it.
Oh,
Here we go.
So I'm working on something that I think people would not be expecting from me. And it's, can I talk about it? I had to get approval before I let my mouth just fly open.
Don't talk. He said, "Don't talk about it too much."
I'm not allowed to talk about it too much, but I'm creating some sound for the people to live off of for the next
Your music.
period of time. I'm making music.
You're releasing a single, an album.
Are you just making? You're just gonna go.
Something really, yeah. That's exactly how I sing.
The chicken. Do
Yeah, the chicken, that's going to come back.
Do the chicken dance.
I love
it. I love it.
I want to throw a little shade down Lucian Piane's
Yes.
way
Yes.
on that episode where he's like wincing and you're singing, and I'm like, a producer can take a really bad singer,
Right. What are you
And-
trying to say? I'm sitting right here.
and you were so it was obvious to me that you were sort of camping out for the camera.
Yeah, I mean, you have to push yourself because we're doing television, and it's like if I don't make myself noticeable, even sometimes, what are you going to do? I'm not Mariah Carey, he did use that reference, but I was braving my voice. It's scary to sing when you're not a singer or when you're becoming you're evolving as an artist.
Yeah.
I did take vocal lessons before I left New York. I worked with an opera singer that had done it forever. Her name was Greta. She had white hair. She was incredible. And she was teaching me how to project and to find the colors in my voice.
Well,
so
RuPaul has a very high register, and most of you guys have an average male register.
Right.
So you're all having to sing like this.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Did you feel that it was like the song should have been pitch shifted a little bit lower?
I have a really hard time hitting top notes. That's why
Yeah.
you heard me crackling up there.
Everybody struggled with
It's hard
that.
when your normal speaking voice
Yeah.
is in a range or even a lower register. But, mid-tone range, there's certain sound that really works beautifully with my voice. And I think a lot of people, if you find what range your voice resides in, you can make something really special. And if you work with a good team.
What is up with your bromance with Trixie, or your girl on girl act? I don't know how to describe it, but
You
it
guys
was
were so cuddly.
Girls gotta eat.
your husband's like, watch it,
Feast or
Trixie.
famine. No, I told him about it, when I got back home. I'm like, it's not, they're trying to make, I was trying to cover my tracks, girl. You know it. Trixie's cute, but
What do you think of Trixie's makeup?
that is a very unique approach to drag. I have not seen that. I was like, this kind of reminds me of a hybrid with Raven, but Miss Piggy meets Pac-Man, the girl Pac-Man for each eye, and Lady Bunny. But
Absolutely, yeah.
there's pieces.
It looks like a blow-up doll.
It does look like a blow-up doll.
Like she
I think
was
that's why I was
spray painted
attracted
in
to
an
her.
Asian factory.
Yes, I was like, I can get into this. I'm into masking.
And I noticed that because we went to Battle of the Seasons and we
She
started.
knows what masking is.
I love masking.
I'm going to make a rubber face and sell it.
Well, I think
Sure.
Peaches
Kids.
Christ and Sharon Needles sell rubber faces of themselves.
Yeah.
Little merchandise future,
3D
perhaps?
printing would
terrifying.
be sick.
I've heard them. They've been using them in porn films, but
I'm going to have to Google search that. Or maybe you could show me.
On Facebook, Chris Nelson asks, "Can it make sense now?"
I wish it would, and it's out of my hands. So let's just see what happens. Because, you know what? When that happened, I'm like, did I even talk about chickens ever again? And then in the last episode, Tan with you, there was a few things with the rotisserie chicken, and people grabbed onto that. And I made some farm references when I was having issues with Pearl, and I said I don't want a bad apple to rot my crop. And the things that were falling out of my mouth that day, it was like a good day. I was like, I'm warmed up. And you're starting to see the colors of my coloring book. I don't know, whatever. The colors of my painting of my life.
Taylor Jones, which one do you prefer, Scotch or duct tape? Because you
Tape.
you use the RuPaul effect.
You better watch out because I'm going to be coming out with my own duct tape face of tapes, and everybody's going to want to buy them. And people actually ask me often, where do you get those? They're interested in getting them. The reason we see my tapes, I use them a lot for, you're looking for them right now. I see your eyes pan in my face. Go ahead. I have 2 tapes on right now, but I also
One
have
on
an
each
ace
side,
bandage.
right? Where else do you have a tape?
I usually do 4, and for photo shoots, I can do more. I like to look like I'm just, like
Because
snatching
I'm getting
back.
a little long on the tooth, so I think I might need a little bit of tape.
And it really
coming up.
does matter. But this is what ends up happening. I did that hoping. You need to shave your head on the sides and not have any hair right there,
Okay.
and hide them inside the wig.
Okay.
Because RuPaul uses tapes, but
Yes.
he has no hair, so he puts them on his head and probably wraps, and Matthew does magic in there. But for me, I could only adhere them on the temple and on above, right in front of my ear, and they were shown, and I kept I don't know. I look back and I'm like, I guess I have room to grow. Because I went into it hoping like, oh, I want to be Glamazon, I want to look Surge, and I want to look everything, and then I keep getting these references.
And for people that don't understand, the tape it lifts your face up
It
and pulls
all the masculinity
feminizes
out of it. It gives your eye more angles, your lids more space. The smile lines go away. You know, any little fine line or wrinkle becomes gone. So it works really great with my older clients too.
Can we talk about nose highlighting and contouring?
Of course.
Because I think
Steve.
like Roxy Andrews' nose was a little bit demented.
It was like the button, and it had the dimple. And
It looked
the
like an
highlight.
exclamation mark.
Yes.
And what
I did
you're
that for a minute.
and yeah, and so it seemed like, and then after a while,
Everyone was doing it.
everyone was doing it, and
Yeah.
it looked crazy until Magnolia Crawford kind of killed it.
And then it was just like bad. People went in for that nose. And you know what? I can respect crazy paint. I look at paint, I'm like, that's impressive. You know, I look at that and I think how, like, I'd really have to analyze how they're approaching it. For me, the nose and the features are all constantly evolving. I found a prototype that works really well for my face and others' faces.
What is it?
Just really about softening the edges. It depends on the face shape. Somebody might need more stronger contouring to create cheeks and a jawline if they have a rounder face. But if you have the bone structure, I have a strong jawbone and chin, so I really like to create contour there to refine and create more of a heart-shaped face. I have a lot of forehead space, but it's good for a wig. You know, if I had a short or shallow forehead, my wigs would look really short. I'd look like Teresa Caputo. Or no,
Or a gorilla.
what's her name? That's in jail now. The woman.
Teresa Gaducci?
That's who I was trying to say. But
Or whatever.
Caputo works
Teresa.
too, right?
Yeah, yeah.
She's got a good head
We
of
all
hair.
knew. The Jersey lady.
The Jersey lady.
Jessica Whitehouse adores you.
Hi,
and
Jessica.
She made earrings for you and sent them to you.
Oh.
Pretend like you
wait.
remember.
Aw.
I love them. Oh my God, they're gorgeous.
And she
Thank
says,
you,
"You want me to
Jessica."
make you anything else, like a board game purse?" Oh, it's the board game purse lady.
Swarovski crystal thong. That's what I really need.
Jessica Whitehouse, this is what you need to do. I'm telling you. What is your favorite board game?
I'd say Monopoly was the first thing that popped in my head.
But it's the one that like defines Miss Fame. It would be like Monopoly is actually good.
Yeah,
'cause
money.
It's about money and fame and
Attraction,
glamour.
and you, like, yeah,
So what you
rolling
need to
up in
do,
that car.
Jessica, is get yourself a Monopoly board, buy some Swarovski crystals, and glue that shit all over it.
Yes.
And then make that into a purse.
Get out a
For
fame
your-
free card.
If you really love Miss Fame.
That's what I'm talking about.
Swarovski crystals.
I have not
honey.
played that game since I was like 10.
Yeah, it's just like
I'm only
real
12, so
Monopoly.
it's been like a year or two.
Everybody fights and only one person gets rich.
Oh, I love.
It's Nick Starr, what are your thoughts about the nude pictures being splashed on social media last
who?
week? Of you.
Oh,
I saw.
I'm not tripping.
I didn't think it was not untasteful. What's the opposite of tasteful?
You know what? We all have a story. I was 20 years old, 22 maybe at the time. I just started with my tattoos because I got my tattoos really quick. And it was about just overcoming any insecurities of yourself. Like, if I can get naked in front of a camera and feel good about myself, then I could live my life. It's like, get over body shame issues and like the shit we do in the gay community and how we treat each other. I wanted to feel good, so I got naked in front of a camera. And my husband says, you know what, in Europe, nobody even would blink twice over those photographs. They're artistic, they're clean. You know, I'm not squatting over a traffic cone and then regretting it. It's, you know, and if there are other pictures out there, let the cards fall as they may.
Well, I got a confession to make.
Yes.
While you were patting your body, I pulled out my iPhone and took some pictures. Oh. Can I post
Please,
them?
please don't. Yeah, well, I would like to see the progression of what you were evolving. Did I
Well,
already
you
have
know-
my butt on?
I just thought it was really amazing the way you just, you know, like a chicken at a farm, kind of making a nest out of random stuff.
Feathers and twigs and shit, hatching the babies.
You made pads for yourself. It was really exciting to watch that unfold.
Thank God I had what I did. It really was a drag race situation tonight. Like, this stuff is real.
Yeah.
Like, I've heard other drag queens. I heard Manila lost her drag in a, what was it? She was traveling to where I'm going tomorrow in Florida. And she was, her stuff never made it there on the
my
flight.
God.
So she had to go to Dwayne Reed and get crafty. And Manila is a crafty queen. I respect her. And tonight I had to go back to my humble beginnings and work it out because this shit just happened. And I'm like, I can't show up without the body. I'm known for this face and I'm known for the body, but is the face enough? Like, that shit was going through my head.
Well, you are the winner of this week's challenge on Feast of Fun.
There was nobody else in here to compete against,
Shantae, you stay.
except the voices in my mind in that competition that's been running since last meet.
Well, all the kids are saying that you're a likely winner of the season.
Well, that is a really great affirmation. So let that soak in. Thank
But they
you.
also
They
said
believe
Trixie would be too.
And we see where
But
that
this
went.
is a great way to watch. I mean, television. You're
Somewhat
watching. You
more.
have expectations, and everyone thinks they know, and then things change. So that's the great. I'm watching as a fan, and I feel like, how is this? How, like, I'm revisiting it, and I've forgotten what happened.
Sure.
And I'm re-upset all over again, or I'm re-happy all over again. So it's kind of.
Were you surprised by anything when you're watching it? You're like, oh my gosh, I didn't realize that happened or it went down like that.
Yeah, I thought there was certain days I thought I was always really, really loving and sweet, and some days I'm like, God, I really wasn't like that. When Max's page getting torn, I swear, I asked Max, can I tear an inside place? Okay, here's the thing.
What?
When you are in front of a camera and you get shiny, we didn't have our powder with us yet. We didn't have anything with us. So I asked Max, he brought this newspaper,
Yeah.
and the inside were blank pages. Blank. There was
as a
nothing on
prop
them.
when he
it was filler
entered the
pages.
room, he had a newspaper
And I
with
saw
Max
that.
on the
The
cover.
outside was the only page that
Yeah.
had a print. The rest were blank. I've talked with him about this too. And he sold that torn page. I'm like, and he showed 11 photographs on eBay. I'm stirring the pot right now.
Yeah.
And he sold it for like $750.
I saw that.
Because you tore a page out because you
And,
used
and
it
on
to
the end
blot the oil
photographs,
off
it
your
shows
face.
a torn corner, like me going in, and then the last picture of me using it in the mirror. And people came for me on social media, and I was like, I'm not that kind of person. We were all I was like, I would never have done that. I'm not mean like that. I would never. I knew what I was asking for when I asked, and I looked, and I made sure I would not have ruined his prop. And when I saw that, I'm like, this is a really interesting twist of events.
Well,
But I think it's capitalizing on the storyline, and if you want to use a
You should
little
get a
touch
cut
of
of that.
fame on
You
that,
made that- you
I
made
should.
that- you
I
made
made
that
that
expensive.
expensive. I did. I put my fingers
from
all
a cheap
over it.
prop to $750.
How much do you think I should get from that as my manager?
Oh, Max, I'm waiting for my cut.
I know I need a cut.
Now, we got to wrap this up because
Yes.
you're about to do a show. But really quickly, tell us the story about how you and your husband met each other.
Yeah, Brad wants to.
Well, me and Patrick met. We were dancing at the Ritz, which is the first club I performed in drag in New York City for a Mac event. And I didn't meet him the night.
Brand name.
Oh, Mac. Fame. Brand name. So I was out dancing. At the time, I was go-go dancing as a boy, making extra cash. And I was done with my shift. I was dancing on the second tier of the small dance floor, which had like step seating. Obviously, I was like wanting to be seen. and he spotted me, and we made contact, but he never braved to come to me. So when I walked by him, I left. I was like, I got to get out of here. I gave him my business card like a good hooker. I said, we could schedule something. I'm kidding. I didn't do that. But I did say to him, he's like looking over like, this bitch. I did say to him, wish we would have had a chance to talk, to which his reply was a text the next day. And I was leaving my first job in New York, working at Mac.
Yeah.
And I get a text, and he said, our eyes met from across the room, hopefully not for the last time.
Aww.
And I said, well, here's the thing. I'm hungry now, and I'm going to Brooklyn, so bridge the gap. Like, I pretty much threw it out there, like, here's your chance to get me, but you have to make... you have to find a destination because that girl's got to eat. I was broke. I needed help. And we met up, and he pulled out the chair and got the door and got the coat and got the bill. And I was like, this guy got my heart. He was such a gentleman, and he was Swiss, and I'd never met anybody from Switzerland. And I thought it was really just beautiful. And I thought he was just charming, and he's always been like that. He's such a gentleman.
Just for the record, we were like running around town like chickens with our head cut off.
Exactly.
And Patrick is a force of calmness and wisdom and kindness and really sweet. And it's really great to see the energy of you two as a couple together, traveling the world and entertaining the childrens who are hungry.
Yes, I wish I could bring him on stage because sometimes I get nervous.
Well, you can. Get him on
I'm like,
drag.
Patrick, get up here and hold my hand. Pull my hair back. I'm going to throw up all over him.
Before we wrap up, I want to do a plug for your T-shirts.
Thanks.
Miss Fame. They can be available on your website.
They are available on MissFameNYC.com. And I have 2 styles, and I have a third one evolving, which is going to be stunning.
I think they're some of the best. I just want to do a testimonial here. I think they're some of the best designed drag T-shirts.
Thank you.
Using cutting edge dye sublimation technology.
You got that right.
Which is very popular this season, kids.
We've got tank tops. We've got T-shirts. And I used the most popular videos from my YouTube of my faces because people ask me, I want your face. So I gave it to them in a T-shirt. So you can
Has
wear
anyone
When you
done-
give face, you really give face.
I give
Yeah.
face in all directions.
And has anybody done anything obscene with it? Like cut the mouth and stuck their,
No, but I told somebody to do that, one of my porn star friends. I'm like, you should totally do that. I'll give you a new one. Just post the video. I think it's going to go viral. Yeah, Alaska chopped the arms off when we were working in Brazil. And she's like, I felt kind of bad because I cut out, And I was like, girl, don't worry.
bad.
And but I didn't mind. She looked great in it, and she's actually worn it at a
And
few
she's
other
showing
events.
off her guns. Is what
She
she's
is.
been working
I mean, that
out.
body is unreal. It's so lean and long and delicious.
And now she's getting some muscle. Just a few more years, Alaska. A few more years, and you'll be ready to be harvested.
Plucked from the vine.
Miss Fame, you're a delight. Will you please come back and actually cook
I
some
will.
chicken with
Yeah,
us?
fried chicken by Fame.
Yeah. I'm ready.
Coconut encrusted.
Come on, fried chicken.
Come on, crystallized chicken.
It's a delight chatting with you. Thank you
Thank
so
you
much for
so
coming on the
much.
show.
Thanks for dealing with my insanity today. In
Oh,
such
it was a-
grace
it was
and
a
integrity.
pleasure.
Actually, I thought it was really added
was
to the magic
exciting.
of the
It
show.
was.
Yeah.
We
You know.
still got to do everything.
Yeah, it's not as fun as
Except
doing
for
drugs
cooking.
with Sharon, but it's still fun.
Do tell. I'm like bringing the peace. I'm like, tell me all about your spiritual awakening.
I'm just kidding.
Remember, folks, Feast of Fun is made possible because of your financial support. Go to feastoffun.com/plus and upgrade today to get all the dirt behind the scenes of all our podcasts. And go to our store, feastoffun.com/store, and get yourself a fabulous T-shirt.
Yes.
Miss Fame,
Miss Fame.
the
love
time has
you.
come to end this podcast, but your journey continues. And remember, if you can't love your own makeup, how the hell is somebody else going to love it?
I love you all, and you're all beyond this planet beautiful.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.